That's right, man. What you heard right there was a trailer from one of the most anticipated films to be coming out right now today, Friday the 14th, and it's starring some icons, people who have really impacted our lives, created the soundtrack of our lives, and through their collective work, man, these might be some of the most successful people Hollywood has ever seen. We brought the cast of the new Shaft is here. We got Samuel L. Jackson, Jesse Usher, Richard Roundtree. We got Regina Hall, Alexandra Shipp, and the one and only Lauren Velez. They are all here, and we got our citizens from Sway in the Morning that have come far and wide to be here today. Please welcome the cast of Shaft, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Keep applauding for them. Come on, man. Yes, Samuel L. Jackson. Hey. Richard Roundtree.
Why, hello, King. So good seeing you.
Good to see you again, sir. Good to see you, sir.
What's up, boss? Tracy. I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Wow, man.
Hey, Mama. Tracy. So good having y'all.
Come on, man. We got the cast here, and we what's happening?
States like leading like 3-1.
Oh.
Damn, Sam came in with the gun.
I'm just checking. I'm just saying.
Come on.
I have faith because you look so calm about it.
But then, Sam, I mean, that's how we gonna start the conversation. You know,
I was making a comment between me.
But between us? Okay, do you think we could? I'm born and raised in Oakland, Mr. Roundtree. I don't know if you know this about me, Sway Calloway.
Never say die.
Never say die. What do you think? You don't think the Warriors could pull this off?
Of course I do.
Okay, I like that. See, he believes in miracles. This Samuel L. Jackson right there.
It would be a miracle.
Oh, come on, Jackson, come on. Where you from, bro?
I'm from Maryland.
Oh, put it to the mic, though.
I'm from Maryland. I'm from PG County, so, you know, I want to see my man Durant hit the court again. But I don't know if they're going to get 3.
Damn, man, aren't y'all promoting a movie today?
I was going to say.
You're right.
He was a bigger Baltimore fan when they were the Bullets.
Oh, okay. Back then, he doesn't even know the
Right.
Bullets.
Those are the hats I saw on my family's hats was the Bullets hats for sure.
They had on Bullets hats?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Did they ever make it to...
No, listen, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
That's not the point.
That's what changed the whole dynamic of that team when they changed it
From the Bullets to the what?
I don't know what we're talking about.
Okay.
Bullets.
We're talking about Shaft.
Gun control?
Okay.
Yeah. Got it.
We can dig it.
We can dig it, man. I want to welcome you guys to SiriusXM and thank you for coming by. And I had a chance to actually see the movie, and there wasn't a moment in that movie that I did not laugh. I thought the writing was amazing, and I thought the chemistry between all of you, it looked like you guys might have done this before together. And so I want to commend you for that first and foremost. But Mr. Roundtree, I have to say to you, growing up in Oakland, and I'm a kid of the 70s, I want to ask you about even the role of Shaft, because for us, you played a significant role in how we saw ourselves and viewed ourselves on television and media and otherwise. And now you 40 plus years later, this story is still being told. But back then, I know it was totally different. I want to ask you, what was it like playing a black leading male role back then when you first took on Shaft, and what was it like in Hollywood?
That was a very magical time in my life to be a star of a major motion picture. And the way it was written and the way I was directed and how it came out, it was an incredible legacy, and I'm proud of it. And the fact that it has lasted so many years, and we're now doing number 6.
Yep.
That's an incredible span. And I'm enjoying it.
Bro, we used to argue, like we used to have arguments like who was the best superhero, you know, and you know what I mean, like early on people, Superman or is it Batman? We was like, hell no, Shaft could whoop that dude in the pantyhose. He'll whoop his ass easily, you know. Right? That's how we thought. Could you feel the impact on the black community at that time playing that role?
Constantly reminded of it, and I won't share that long story, but I had an experience at LAX coming through TSA or PSA?
TSA.
Okay.
And this guy was watching me. And as I got through, he said, "Could I have a word with you?" He says, "I'm from Alabama, and as a kid, we had to sit up in the balcony, and because of watching that film, made me strive for something more than Alabama." And he was in charge at the LAX, and then those type of stories I've heard all of these years, and people will come up to me and say things like that. I'm very proud of that.
Yeah. Okay, man. We're proud of you, man. I can't believe we got you here right now, too, right? Okay. Samuel L. Jackson, man, I love you, man. You've been my brother. I don't even know how long you've been my brother, man. Never got any invites to the house or nothing like that. But
It's like we hang out every morning on my way to the golf course.
Oh, yeah?
I'm listening to you every
Oh,
morning.
you tuned in?
Every
I
day.
got a citizen
I'm
right
a
here.
citizen,
Man.
yeah. I'm listening to Celebrity Wire, making sure I'm not on it.
Okay.
It's all like that. So I hear all that every morning, and the question of the day,
Okay.
have you ever?
Yes.
So I'm listening to that, and when you're doing your live broadcast, so I'm with you every morning. I'm driving from 6 till 6:25 to the golf course. So I'm with you that long.
Wow, I get
every
25
day.
minutes of your time.
Yes.
Man, and
Every day.
your time is valuable. I can only imagine, man. And I was, and even thinking about you, I always love when I see you do interviews and I see you speak even off the set, and looking at your history when you put together over 4 decades of work. I believe it's over 120. Do you even know?
No.
Okay, I didn't think you would know.
My wife just keeps sending me to work.
She just keeps sending you work, right?
Get up, go to work.
When Shaft came out, where were you, and what did you think of the
I was
movie?
in Atlanta.
Okay.
Just about to graduate from Morehouse. And, sitting there watching that movie, it's like, wow. Who didn't want to be a sex machine for all the chicks? I couldn't afford the leather clothes, so that was out. I did have a nice fro, but I thought I was Clarence Williams III. I was Lincoln Hayes. I had the big round fro and my little black glasses, but I still wanted to be Richard, be a tough guy, swing through a window, swinging on, rope through a window, bust some people up. I loved the movie. I loved all the characters in it. I hadn't spent any real time in New York at that time. So looking at that, Harlem was like, whoa, that's a sexy, dark, dangerous kind of dope place I might want to check out.
Yeah, right.
And they got women like that up there. So by the time it came around for me, to do that movie when John Singleton, God rest his soul,
God rest his
came
soul.
by my trailer when I was shooting Rules of Engagement. He came by and said, "Yeah, man, we're gonna do another Shaft. I want to talk to you." I was like, "Why?" So, we got a Shaft. Rich is still here. It's a dope movie. Why would we do it? He said, "It's time." I said, "For real?" I said, "It's time." I said, "Okay, man. If it's time, I'll think about it. But if I do it, Rich has got to be in it. So they got to know I'm not replacing him. I'm just doing something else. But he's still the sex machine for all the chicks. And they made sure that, so I didn't get no chicks.
You didn't get no chicks. Right.
John actually thought the sexiest thing for me to do was say, "It's my duty to please that booty." Okay. I was like, the corniest line I ain't ever heard in my life. He said, "You can make it work." I'm like, "I can? Really?" Make it work. So I had to make it work. And then when they approached me about this one, you come to the point where it's like you said, you sit there and you watch the movie. When I read the script the first time, I was like, look, John Shaft is this iconic hero for us. He changed the way we felt about ourselves, and he set a standard for us to kind of meet women, treat women a certain way, be a certain kind of dude, stand up for your brother, do all this other stuff. So he can't be a buffoon.
Yes.
I don't mind this being a comedy, and it's going to throw people off when you say Shaft and you go comedy. But it's got to be an action comedy, and the action has to be real, and the danger has to be legitimate.
Yeah.
So by the time we finished hashing all that out and we started going through the audition process, and we got Jesse and all the other women that are in the movie, it was kind of like, okay, there are going to be some moments where it's going to be un-PC.
Yeah.
Just because it's Richard, because it's me, and we come from a specific generation. So hopefully we can make those things work. and entertain an audience and make people laugh, and at the same time understand the level of danger and what has to happen with this kid who didn't grow up in that sexy, dangerous, dope Harlem that we live in. So when he comes into it, we got to teach him what it means to have that name.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a responsibility that comes with being a shaft.
Right?
You know, and that's what this is about. It's about family and family responsibility and what that means. And, you know, getting together and showing love comes in all kinds of, you know, shapes and forms. Even this ratchet ass mama didn't she ain't even here. She ain't even here.
She ain't even here, man. She late.
She didn't even let him know, you know.
I honestly
she's
think I
walking
just
up.
saw her
She's
walk up
walking
right
up.
now.
Yeah,
You might have spoke her up.
She raised
she
him
heard
in a
you.
certain way.
She heard you talking about
Here's your microphone.
You just talking about your ratchet ass.
Literally just talking about you.
She want to raise him up like, you know, she was like an upstanding citizen.
Yeah, I noticed that.
She ain't even let him know she had some ratchet in her background.
I'm done.
What's that?
I plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth. Regina Hall, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey,
Come
Regina.
on, man. Play Maya. The one thing I really appreciated too was, you know, especially in this day and age, the camaraderie between the generations of men. You know, having the grandfather, the father, the grandson, and the dynamic in which y'all worked, and all the ribbon that went on with Jesse. But a lot of it, to me, is true to form to what we see today. You know, you say, well, what is he? What are you, a metrosexual? You know, you call him because of the way he act. You know, how did that camaraderie happen? Like, Jesse, were you at least a little bit intimidated by these two, or how did you get so comfortable?
By the time we got there, all the intimidation happened in the audition room. Like
Okay.
Sam put me through the ringer from the moment I walked in to, you know, the first time we was getting ready to do that first scene we were reading, and we got a chance to like really play around. And by the time we got to set, you know, we just knew the material and we knew what it was going to be. We knew what that dynamic was going to be like. I knew I was going to poke at him.
TV show.
Say that again?
He did say that.
I actually told him I liked his little TV show.
Survivor's Remorse.
Yeah,
You played Cam Calloway.
Exactly.
And my last name is Calloway.
Absolutely.
I thought that was copyright infringement. I was
No.
Okay, all right.
Because I came in and I showed love, you know what I mean? We had this conversation.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
Okay,
we worked it out.
my bad.
We worked it out.
Okay.
But, you know, these are living legends, powerhouses. And luckily for me, they were in this film playing those characters that we know and love, and they were able to alleviate the pressure. So when I come in doing something different, I was able to just have fun. And that's kind of what that dynamic was like. It's like the same way you poke at your actual father, you know, and the same reason that he pokes at me. It was kind of that same thing, being on set, and I got a chance to take some jabs back at him, and you know, it felt good.
People like to portray things like, you know, you come on a movie set and there's the star and there's the you know, there are people that have that, you know, crap like, don't look at me, don't talk to me, you know, and you know, I have a big trailer, you know, call me last to set.
Okay.
Make sure everyone's ready to go before I come in. You know,
I was totally that way on set.
That's Lauren Velez, ladies and gentlemen.
Every day,
I couldn't even look her in the eye. I was just like,
we still can't.
Yeah, I mean, see, but she's different though.
Yeah.
See, because I remember I was like, oh my God, this is Lauren Velez. Oh, shit. New York Undercover. I remember how many jobs I didn't get on that show.
wow.
How many times I auditioned for that show and didn't get on it? Oh, damn. So, you know, I had a little thing about it when I saw it. I was like, oh my God, we're going to work with Lauren Velez, you know, and that happens, you know. But when you come to a movie set, or on my movie sets anyway, everybody's there to play. You know, it's like everybody got dealt a hand. How many trumps you got? Let's play. You know, let's go. So I like to have fun. I don't want it to be a lot of acrimony. That's there sometimes, but you know, I'm there to do the best job we can all do, so we can have fun. And if you're having fun doing it, believe me, when I'm a movie fan, I watch movies. I can tell when people didn't have a good time making a movie together.
You could see it in the scene.
You can see it. You can feel it. And I want people to feel like, oh man, they was balling out. You know, they were having a good time doing this.
I swear, the vibe with the chemistry with every single person, it felt like we were talking about, man, they must have really hung out offset. Did y'all hang out offset? Lauren, you didn't have time for that.
We hung out.
Okay.
We hung out.
Karaoke.
Everybody,
We had a good time.
everybody else was like, all right, we're going to go home and go to bed and be adults. And me and Jess were like, let's go play some golf.
Sam took me to Battle of the Bands. I had never
Me and Regina went to the.
okay.
I took Regina to the Battle of the Bands.
Really?
HBCU.
Uh-huh. Ooh, you never been?
Oh, that's fun. I had never been. That was my first time, and it was like, I mean, it was great to go. I mean, with. I still heard you say
She didn't go to Black
it.
School.
It's okay, Regina.
She didn't know nothing about that.
What's
that about, though?
Right, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was fun to do.
That was fun.
Regina, I'm wondering because Maya's a very special character because she can get as Shaft the Second soft spot. She can curse him the hell out. So she just understands that intersection. Is there a lot of her within you, or did you have to focus on someone to pull that out?
I mean, I just think when two people are in love, I think it's not, I think he loves Maya, and that's why he allows most men, you know what I mean? It's not that you can or can't. I mean, you can try to curse anybody out, but you guys gotta have the love. See, you know what I mean? But you got that love and that history and that connection has to be there. Mm-hmm. And I think, just going into what it feels, and she loves him. I think just going into what it feels like for two people to see.
She a brilliant actress because she ain't never really had a black boyfriend. Doing the thing with me was like,
We're going to change the narrative on that one. We're going to change the narrative. We're going to run the move.
Yeah.
But I did never have a shaft. This was my first shaft.
That's the first shaft.
There you go.
Yo, see, we're having fun already. Lauren, you played the villain, huh?
I did my first time.
Yeah. Usually you on the other side of the law.
I know.
Yeah. What was that like, developing that character?
It was really dope. I mean, I've never had a chance to play somebody who is, like you said, on the other side, and I just kept thinking, like, how bad can she be? Like, how bad can you make her? Uh-huh. And this whole thing with the back. I mean, look, when I had to work, I did have that experience when I walked on set of working with Sam, and I saw Regina, who is a complete doll. These are the only two I actually, of course, Jesse, but I mean, these are the only two I got to work with because we didn't get to work together, and we didn't get to work together. But when I saw Sam, I mean, I had such a great time. My first moments were like hum, like that Sam Jackson, like, what do you say? But then I found the bat, and I was like, you have a bat, you can say whatever you want to say. So,
Atta girl.
So it was pretty amazing, and like I said, great, because most of the characters are, on the right side, or law enforcement or something, or a mom who's trying to do the right thing. And this is a woman who's trying to do the right thing for herself. She considers herself a small business owner, and she's the boss. She's
Small
the boss
business
lady.
owner.
Exactly.
What was her business? What product was she selling?
She launders money.
Yeah.
So what? Money has to be laundered. This happens.
It's like a flea market.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And DB, maybe you could build on this. We were talking about the roles and the development of the roles that the women played, even though you were a villain, and I don't know, Alex, if we could say you were like a girlfriend or a best friend.
The femme fatale.
The femme fatale.
I mean, I feel like they were more best friends, and then once he started to fully evolve into his shaftum, is when she was like, "Ooh, he's cute. I actually like his little ears and stuff."
Man, you shoot a gun one time,
Right.
they ready to jump.
So now we gotta play that
They ready
song.
to
Is that song? We started out as best friends, then we turned to my girlfriend.
Oh.
I ain't bought a diamond ring.
Sam be on it, baby. Sam be on it.
I wanted to
jump in that
ask
place.
about the dynamic between the three of you guys, because in the trailers, for those obviously who haven't seen it yet, it's portrayed that you haven't seen him in a while. You're kind of like an absentee father, but there is a reason why you weren't there, which I won't reveal. But how important was it to the film that you were not portrayed as just like a regular deadbeat guy? That there is a reason that you did care about your son, you just couldn't be there.
Well, it's important because one of the tenets of Shaft is, he risked his neck for his brother, man. He's always there. He got your back no matter what. And, it was a heartbreaking situation. And it's part of the reason that I have to school him in being a Shaft, because there's still unfinished business that took him to this place that I have to finish so we can be right again. You know, I mean, the streets know. Even the streets know. So I got to fix the streets. I got to fix him and let him know. But to establish between man to man, when we first meet each other, it's kind of like, yo, dude, no. Oh, that's wrong. Your mama did that. Your mama did this. But I'm not saying she was wrong for doing it, but she wanted to keep you alive. And sometimes that's what happens. And I did what I could to let you know you were still on my mental.
Brass knuckles.
I just couldn't be in there.
Condoms, dirty books.
The invitation to the strip club where your mama was working that you didn't want him to know.
Grandma might have been there. Grandma might have been
work
there.
is a
you
strong
hid
word.
from him because you
I
scared he
might
gonna
have
run into his grandmama up there.
I might have moonlit 1 or 2 days.
See, the truth comes out
And
right
there you
now.
go.
She was the hostess.
There you
She
go.
was the bouncer.
Okay. Well, we got the cast of Shaft here, man. One of the things I want to come back and talk about is the music that was licensed for the film, man. I was blown away by some of the songs I was hearing being played in the background. And one of the songs that was played was one of my favorite rappers of all time. And one of my favorite songs he ever made. The one and only Rakim. Y'all know about that? Okay, citizens. I told y'all when they get in here, don't start acting funny and y'all changing your energy, okay? All right, let's go into that. We're going to come back with the cast of Shaft. Sway in the morning, Shade 45. Shade 45, man. Give it up for the cast of Shaft that's here. Regina Hall is here. Give it up for Regina Hall. Luna Velez is here. Give it up for Luna. I said it right? Okay. Jesse Usher, give it up for Jesse, y'all. Alexandra Shipp is here. Give it up for Alexandra. And Richard Roundtree just went to solve a crime.
He does that sometimes.
He does that, Jesse. Just out of the blue, right?
Listen, man, that's real life Shaft right there.
there, man.
He get a call, he gotta go.
He just took off running like that.
He gonna come back sweating.
Yeah. You know.
Come back spattered in blood.
Yeah, right? Daddy, man.
He's coming around.
While he's coming around, Samuel L. Jackson, I want to read something that I read recently. Nah, man. Listen, you know, like I said, 4 decades, 120 projects, and you at a point in your life, you know, I had Beyonce's father once told me, and I asked him, what's the key to negotiation? And he said, Sway, you gotta make fuck you money. And I was like, fuck you money? What's fuck you money? Well, you got enough money where you could walk away and say fuck you if the negotiation isn't correct. And I was reading this article and I saw this quote from you, if you don't mind if I read it.
Let me see what it was.
Okay, it said, let me read it. And then
you making up some shit.
Okay. Well, no, you know, you use your voice in a political way. You know, and there are a lot of people who oppose your political positions that said stick to acting. Same way they told LeBron to shut up and dribble. And them days are done. And you said, I know how many motherfuckers hate me. I'm never going to see a Sam Jackson movie again. Fuck, I care. If you never went to another movie, I did in my life. I'm not going to lose any money. I already cashed that check. Fuck you. Burn up my videotapes. I don't give a fuck.
That sounds like Sam.
I think I said that.
I believe that. I believe that, Sam.
Was that you, Sam?
I can see you saying that.
That was you?
I said that, yeah.
And
It was the motherfucker.
it was the but after watching the movie, right? Because Shaft is like that, you know, and to me, I was like, well, damn, is he Shaft or is he Samuel L. Jackson? I know it's a difference, but what are the similarities?
He black, he's tall. I'm black, I'm tall. He doesn't have fuck you money. Shaft doesn't.
Okay.
So he got to work at it a little bit. I'm a good friend. I'm a good son. Decent boss. Good father. Good husband. Same one. We got 40-year anniversary coming this year.
That's incredible.
You know, never been arrested. Unusually, as
in your
a
life?
black man in my life, I have never been arrested.
Wow.
I've been stopped a lot. But I'm a good
Oh,
talker.
I thought of
I'm
a
good
similarity.
talker. I'm a good talker. Huh?
I thought of a similarity.
What?
Because I think you have a photographic memory. And when I looked at Shaft and his organization, it's like he had a photographic memory.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. But, and I tend to have an opinion. I grew up in a specific time in America. So when I hear things, it ain't like a dog whistle. It's like a air horn.
You know what it is.
When I hear "Make America Great Again," I was like, I was here when again was jumping off. I read the signs. I went to segregated schools. The whole deal. So I understand what all that means, and I know what the world is now. And I got a daughter that lives in it. Hopefully I have some grandkids at some point that live in it. But I want the world to be a better place. I don't want it to stay the same, and I don't want it to go back. And when I look at the color, the vitality of what the world is, it just makes me angry that we seem to be going backwards. And I know who those people are, and I know what they mean, and I get it. I get everybody likes somebody different, and everybody's got this thing, and and I get that we may just be feeling what they felt like for 8 years when Obama was president. They might have woke up every day and looked at the TV and said, "Oh, what that nigga doing now?" Let's talk some other shit. And we feel that way, like, "Oh, he's stupid, he's crazy." So I get it.
You get it.
And that's what life is. But it's still incumbent upon us to try and keep the light on the truth, on what justice is, what's right. The fact that we don't run women's bodies. We don't. It's their choice, and it should be, and it's their constitutional right to have that choice. And they're continually trying to change the law or make us believe that we can change that law. No, fuck, you can't. As long as we're here and get in the streets, but that's what we stopped doing. It's like when homie was in London last week, them people were in the streets. And he wanted to lie and say, "Oh, they out there cheering for me." No, motherfucker, they hate you. And we need to be in the streets a little bit more like we used to be in the 60s. Well, I'm a product of the 60s. We were in the streets. When something was wrong, we let them know, well, we get to vote, we got a voice, and we ain't down with that. Some of it worked, but the world changed because of it. So the politicians we have and the young people that need to run our world, or they are hopefully going to inherit this world, can get rid of those dudes and make sure that they're doing what's right for everybody that's around them, because that's what they do. They stand up for each other. We criticize, Generation Z and the millennials, but I remember, going to my daughter's school and saying, if y'all see Zoe sucking her thumb, tell her stop sucking her thumb. And they're like, no, it's okay for her to suck her thumb. It's cool. No, you motherfuckers ain't paying for braces, so tell her to take her thumb out. But they didn't, because they supported her, and they support each other in who they are, which changed the whole dynamic of what we look at people as now. When we look around, people have their own sexual designation, or they want to be referred to as this because I feel like I'm this, I feel like I'm that. We have to respect that now. Can't nobody tell you, no, you can't feel that way, because society's not going to let you. Society's going to let you do what you need to do. You can make money getting up in the morning, turning on your phone, and letting people follow you.
Yeah. Is it true? Yeah.
Because you don't have to have a traditional job. You don't have to follow those rules. We think they do because we were traditionally raised in a specific way. It's like when people say to me, "Why you work so much?" I say, because all the grown people in my house went to work when I was coming up. And I think that's what grown people do. So I get up and go to work. But not now. You get up, turn your phone on, and get monetized. And then say, "Who your sponsor?" Tide. Hear me brush my teeth this morning. What y'all up to? What's happening? So we don't know how to do that, but young people do.
That's what's up.
More power to them. But that was way off the point. But yeah, I said all that shit.
Absolutely, man. I want to, some of these people have come as far as Missouri, drove from Missouri. When we said we had passes to see you all and named everybody that was going to be on this in this discussion, people drove as far as Missouri.
Thank you.
To be here. So I want to make sure they get a chance to ask a question. So who got the mic? You mind walking that mic over here to these guys right here? They gotta, and just say your name, man.
My name's Malcolm. I was just wondering, you know, working with the man Roundtree, you know what I mean? The man, the man. How did that help you in all this? I mean, all the roles you played, working with him in this, you know what I mean, in this movie. How did it help you working with the man itself?
Well, Richard has a level of calm and cool that's, you know, infectious. You know, I tend to run hot sometimes, but I can look at him and he's like doing that. Yeah, looking at you like, you wasting a lot of energy being that upset. Yeah. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. This ain't real life. This is a movie. But he's a very calming effect on set, you know, and just a good dude to be around. We used to play golf together sometimes when we were doing the first one. In fact, we made a mistake of making a tee time at what's that black course that they just played, where they just played the U.S. Open or whatever. Yeah. Over here in New York. We made the mistake, huh? Bethpage Black. And we made the mistake of making a tee time over there and didn't realize they wouldn't let us have carts. And Richard had a big ass tour bag. And they didn't have no caddies either. We almost died trying to play that.
As a matter of fact, if memory serves me correctly, I only lasted three or four holes.
Yeah, you chilled out, and my makeup artist turned green. But it was tough.
Yeah.
But no, this is the guy that you want with you. You know, he never gets excited. He just kind of pulls you back to reality quick.
That's Shaft right there, man. Who got a good question? Who got our next question?
Hi, my name is Rich Nice. My question is for Mr. Richard Roundtree. So obviously I want to thank you for taking this role as Shaft way back when you did it. Growing up in the inner city, you were our first superhero, the first real black superhero. And everyone knows a superhero has theme music, and your theme music was made by the late, great Mr. Isaac Hayes. And with the new film, do you miss Isaac's cues in the film away from the regular Shaft theme? Because I know his music was a big part of the original movie and soundtrack.
I don't know if I could speak to that past the fact that I miss Isaac. He and I used to hang out and had great times together, and I didn't know that we were the same age. Along with Muhammad Ali, we were all the same age, and to lose him, such a gentleman, such a soft-spoken man, and a music genius, that was a big loss for me, as well as Ali was a big loss for me. I would love to tell you the story of the first time I met that man, but I won't.
How long is it
We don't have enough tape.
We don't have enough time.
We don't have enough time. Okay.
But we were fortunate enough to have Isaac Hayes Jr., who actually had a lot of music that people hadn't heard that his father did. So we got to sneak some of that in the film. Some of those music cues are in this film also, along with the other music. But he you know, came in and brought, you know, Isaac's flavor anyway, you know, to help us out. He's a good dude.
Okay.
Sounds like him, looks like him.
Yeah.
Crazy looks like him, like
it's
crazy.
crazy when you
Looks
turn
just
around,
like
you
him.
go, whoa.
Yeah.
What's up?
Shailene Willis. That's Shailene Willis, y'all. Give it up
What's
for
up,
Shailene.
Shailene? What's up, Shailene?
My question is for Mr. Jackson. How did you mentally prepare for the role of Shaft?
Like I said, you know, I have this great respect for what Richard did, and then when I got, you know, the role in 2000, I was a little edgier and angrier for, you know, the turn of the century as Shaft, and I had a dope villain. You know, Jeffrey's Peoples was awesome. You got to kill people. Yeah, right. Yeah. Tiger Woo, I love he. I like he. You know, but to flip this whole thing and turn it into an action comedy, like I said, I was very concerned about the line of what the comedy was and where we were going to go with it. And I didn't want to cross him over into, stupidity or, like I said, buffoonery. It's like even the introduction in this film, which we didn't talk about. It's almost like, we had the girl there, and I was still jonesing because of the last movie. I didn't get to be a sex machine for all the chicks. All of a sudden, we got a girl there, and they're like, the first time they opened the door, I was like, why she got pasties on? What we doing? What kind of movie we making? We already motherfucking and fucked all over the movie, so it's already an R-rated movie. And I said, are you cool with this? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, fine. Bring the glitter.
Bring the glitter.
Bring the glitter out. So we, once we got to that place, I said, this is stupidest as I'm going. And from this point on, it's just going to be ride, father, son, you don't know the rules to this kind of thing because you ain't been in the streets. You got to be in the streets. And then working with, Regina, every time I'm with her, there's like this amazing attraction between the two of us that's like, we almost like that every time until I do something wrong. I'm the dude that says the wrong things. Like,
there's some funny scenes.
Ruin the moment again.
Yeah.
Here you go again. So it's totally about trying to stay in the John Shaft, yeah, you cool, but you can be silly moments and awkward moments with my son because I'm trying to tell him who we are and he's trying to tell him that's so incorrect that you being that person, and trying to learn from him.
Yeah.
And learning that he deserves my respect as much as, I deserve his.
I'm thinking about, I know all these scenes, but I don't want to give it away. But Regina, you had to deliver one of the most iconic lines, in the movie to me when, I can't think of who was the character that said, he's a bad mother.
I think his name was Ron, wasn't it?
Ron.
It was Ron.
Ron.
My man Ron.
Can we reenact that real quick? Did they write you that to say, or did you say it, your response to that?
It was written in the more traditional way.
Okay, give me an example. What do you mean, like in a more traditional way?
That John Shaft, he's a bad mother.
Yeah, shut your mouth. That's how it was. But I think he had been yelling the whole night. You know what I mean? I was mad. I was still attracted to this one. It was so many things going on that we just went with a different version where she's just
Which
like,
works.
Yeah.
Can we do that just for the?
I don't think they want to spoil it. Is what they're trying
really?
to avoid.
Right.
Oh, that's the big thing, huh? I was trying to get it so we could record it and play it back on our show, DB.
I'm saying.
Thank you for that moment. But did you improv that line or? Oh, you ain't got to say that version of the line. Mm-hmm. Wow, you delivered the shit out of that, man. Give it up for Regina Hall. What do you say?
That cat Sway, he's a bad mother.
What did I say? I'm sorry.
Shut up,
you want me to know?
No, she said, "Shut the fuck
up."
Okay, here you go. You ready?
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, let's see.
That cat Sway, he's a bad mother.
Shut the fuck up, Ron.
Save me, thank you.
That's my man. I told you that's my family right there.
Well done.
I'm looking out for you.
Thank you. I already see. Alexandra, let me ask you this, and Jesse to that tune. This franchise has been so successful. Over 100 million, 130 million in the box office has it generated, and you guys are more than newcomers. Even though y'all been putting in your work, I'm not disrespect Aaliyah or everything. Storm,
we're new for this.
But yeah.
To this world, we are
for sure.
a whole new world.
Right? Yep. I'm not an actor, but do you concern yourself with the results of the movie? Do you concern yourself that it doesn't live up to expectation and what you do in your character doesn't resonate?
Totally. I think that's a big fear whenever you're coming onto a franchise like this that has so many deep roots in our culture, and it means so much to so many people. You know, as actors, we're people pleasers. All we want to do is make people, you know, pleased with our work and the things that we do. So it's constantly going through my head. I'm like, did I just look weird opposite Samuel L. Jackson and Richard Roundtree? Like, am I the person who's going to hold us back from success?
It's a lot
And
of
then I'm
pressure.
like, it's a lot that goes into it. And then I have to be like, no, because nobody's looking at you, girl. They're looking at Sam and Richard. Like, it really, like, I don't think we could make this movie bad because they're so incredible. You know what I mean? Well, maybe Jesse. He could probably do that. Not me, though. I could be a squeaky wheel and nobody would notice.
Here's the thing
But I
about
think
that,
I
though,
wasn't.
Sway.
You did good.
To be honest with you, I mean, because the film is so highly respected, and I mean, there's so many people who feel so strongly about this character. I think the biggest thing for me was the fact that Sam and Richard were still playing the character that we know them to play in this film. Took a lot of that pressure off. It allowed us to come in and just try stuff, you know what I mean, to play opposite the same shaft. It's almost as if we walked into a film that we've seen before, and then now you just have another character being introduced. Like, I wasn't replacing them, so that feeling wasn't there. And I mean, they took care of me, you know, at the end of the day.
Damn, that Jesse Usher movie sucked.
No one's gonna say Sam blew it.
That Jesse Usher shaft sucked.
That's exactly what they would say, though, man.
I might get a little blame.
Been saying Samuel Jackson is Shaft, so they might say Sam
I might
blew
get a little blame.
You might get a little blame.
blame.
We can share it, but
I
I
can
think
handle
we
it.
did all right.
I can handle it, man.
You can handle it.
I can handle it.
Sam's gonna come out and say he don't give a fuck again. That's all that's gonna happen. And then, you know,
I
and then it's
never
gonna blow
say
over.
that. I do care because I want people to like my movies. I want people to like the movie. That's why I do movies. I do popcorn movies because I like popcorn movies. I do movies I want to go see. You know, so people will say, yeah, that motherfucker play the same character all the time. Yeah, fine. But it's a character that I want to see. It's telling a story, a different story. And he might be the same dude in a different story.
Not really.
I know
I'm
that.
going to say this because when I was in Atlanta and I had days off, I mean, obviously, you know, Sam worked every day. No lie, every day was a Sam Jackson movie on. I mean, I wasn't even, I'd be like, damn, Sam, every day. And I'd text Sam and be like, I'm watching such, it never stopped. And then I think.
But it'd be movies she hadn't seen.
Movies I hadn't seen.
She hadn't seen.
Movies I hadn't seen. But I had still seen like 30 or 40 of them. And then it was just 30 or 40 more. But what happens is you realize, and he is different in all of them, but when someone has a career that is so long, you know what I mean? You as an audience, you forget because you have an expectation of their level of talent and you start to merge it. But when I was, I mean, I had a sign. Remember I had a sinus cold? Every time I was like, yeah, I'm watching such and such. And then I'd be like, I'm going to have to watch it on the East Coast feed because I caught it in the middle and I'd catch it in the beginning. I was like, Sam had done, it was so many movies that I did not know about. The Violin.
Red Violin. Yeah.
Red Violin. I don't know if y'all saw it. She didn't. I can look at her face right there. She was like, I don't know that one. But there were
Long Kiss Goodnight. That's my favorite one.
I love
my
Long
favorite
Kiss Goodnight.
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Yeah, and then what is it? The Kingman's.
Kingsman, yeah. Kingsman.
When I met Sam, I was like, but this lisp though, like this is
So
brilliant,
brilliant.
Brilliant. Never, I haven't seen that, and that
Russell
choice
Simmons
was
the bad guy.
yeah.
And
I love that.
And you know what? And that's what I mean. It's like they are so nuanced. And I was watching them regularly, so I really got a chance to really take it. I mean, really take it. And I was, you know, it's what I did in Atlanta. It made me really happy. But it's just a huge body of work where, like she said, there's stuff you're like, oh dang, look at that, you know.
All you guys, though, even Luna, I saw you on. I remember seeing you on Oz, I think it was. Saw you on Dexter. Ugly Betty. I've seen all these different roles you played on all these different platforms. New York Undercover. I know that's the one that people probably still tackle you on the streets for, even though it was.
We just did the pilot for the reboot.
Yeah. So how'd that go?
Sam, you go You go audition this time, Sam, and I got a good feeling.
Mira,
Money's on you.
Mira, Sam, I could talk to them about you. I could be like, I have a
Put in
friend.
a word for a brother. Wow.
But how do you? Because I watched Sam say once, man, I like working, so I don't pass on opportunities. But how do you pick your roles?
You know, it's interesting because I just a lot of things I audition for, but anything that's great. But as an actor, as a woman of color, the truth is, it's not like there are skillions and billions of roles for us, right?
Yeah.
So pretty much, if there's a role and it's a woman of color, whether she's Latina or African American, usually it's like a woman of color, whatever it is, then either it's offered or I go up for it.
What you talking about? Y'all got y'all own channel. Telemundo's all kind of shit on Telemundo.
But listen. How about this? Telemundo is very, I'm going to say this because I think it needs to be said. Telemundo is very white Spanish. Yeah. So they haven't figured out, even though we have the Caribbean, we have, Latinos come in all different colors, right? They haven't really taken that on. And it's really frustrating. It's a real bone of contention for me because we had an icon, Celia Cruz, who was on, and she was a maid. I was like, in a novela. I was like, come on. So finally they did the Celia story, and that's great because a bunch of Afro-Latino actors got to work. But it's not like there are a million roles. There are very few roles. It's even harder on Spanish television to get a role. You hear that? It's true. It's really
you ain't
true.
a native, so you a hybrid.
Whoa, espérate. I'm Puerto Rican. And Puerto Rico, even though the current administration would have you believe is not in America, it is in America.
He just don't know. He doesn't know. He's not trying to keep him know. He don't know.
Él no sabe nada, pero si ese hombre está loco.
That's stupid.
All right, I want to try to get a couple more audience questions real quick. We got the cast of Shaft is here. Who's on the mic right there? Is that Mike Muse?
Yeah.
This is Mike Muse. He does our political news on our show.
What's happening? Samuel Jackson, I can listen to you talk about politics all day. I'm always waiting for you to come to the microphone and see what you have to say about politics. I find you wildly fascinating. But with that being said, Sam, black exploitation, that genre was kind of set in the backdrop of so much social unrest, civic unrest, and political unrest when the first Shaft was created. And here we are in the third iteration of it, and we're still seeing so much social, civil, and political unrest. I'm a big believer that pop culture moderates social dialogue and social construct. I'm just curious of your thoughts on what do you hope this third version of Shaft will help moderate in our national discourse?
Well, first of all, that this generation that we malign so much, has a lot to offer. And that seems to be, people are always, fussing about him. And he's showing that, they do have a set of values that work in their way, that work in their favor, and they believe in their, history, people that came behind them. I don't know that politics or the politics of the country work in a specific way when we do movies like this, mainly because of the gun violence. And gun violence has always been a part of movie making. And education about gun violence is one thing. It's like when I was a kid, Christmas wasn't Christmas unless I got some guns. We came out of the house shooting at each other, So I had cowboy guns and Phantom 50s and the rifleman gun and all that other stuff. But gun violence has changed in a lot of ways, but we still glorify it cinematically. John Wick was like, body count John Wick was like, stupid. But, well, we've been trying to see that, ever since, John Woo created, bullet ballets. We like that stuff. We watch it. We believe in it. But it's not what life is. That's the point. The point that's not being made, I think, is when I grew up in Tennessee, we had guns in my house. And I knew about those guns, and I was taught how to use them. And I also understood what guns did to people. And that's not how we solved our problems. Gun was for protection, not for aggression. So that's part of what's not being taught, or people don't iterate that enough to young people or people who are around guns. People start to think now that guns are aggressive things. That's the biggest political issue we have. I mean, it's like in Chicago. I hate when holidays come because all they want to do is give us the number of people that got shot Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Chicago. When I was in New Orleans, same thing was happening. We were doing Django. It's Labor Day or something. All of a sudden, 65 people got shot last night.
Yeah.
It's like, between 1 and 1:30. It's like, what the hell? You know, I don't need to know that. And where were they anyway? Because I wasn't in that part of town. But glorifying what happens because of somebody's stupidity about guns or the mental illness that we're not addressing in our society because we talk about people's rights, but they take a break. They take away rights that mean shit, like abortion, a woman's right to choice, or going to the school you want to go to, even that whole college education bullshit. It got on my nerves. At one point I was like, people been buying buildings and building gyms and shit, forever, and getting their kids in college. What the hell y'all worried about now? Because they just decided to pay somebody, send my kid to college. But we worry about the wrong things, and we allow them to distract us from the things we need to be concerned about. And that's what I think needs to happen. People need to be educated about the issues we need to be concerned about so that we can deal with those issues, not the distractions, not the crap, not the wall.
Yeah.
They ain't building a fucking wall.
Yeah.
That just ain't gonna happen right now. But we need to stop people that are mentally ill from buying guns. We need to get people off the streets. If somebody in this country, if Jeff Bezos and his wife can get a divorce, and he said, well, I'm gonna give you this much of my money to go away, and it's $35 billion, and she turns around and says, well, I'm gonna give half of it away. Okay, homelessness is over. If she's giving away half of fucking $35 billion, we getting ready to get some people off the street. Let's talk to her about what to do with that money, not about the fact that she's giving it away. When Notre Dame burned down, the Catholic Church could have rebuilt it. They didn't need all those people's money. But everybody said, hey, here's $100 million for me. Here's $200 for me. Here's $200 for me. Here's a couple $100 million for me. But we could end homelessness just by the people that live in this country. Or, this dude lying to us about, China's paying this, that, and the other, when the cost is coming down to us. Educate people about how that works. That when they tax those people, the shit you buy costs more.
Yeah.
They're not paying shit. We paying it. And he fucked you in your taxes too. Let's talk about that. Make it simple enough for people to understand so they'll know what we need to be dealing with and what we need to fight about. That's how you deal with politics. Break it down to simplistic things.
There it is. Samuel L. Jackson, ladies. Keep applauding. Give it up for Luna Velez, ladies and gentlemen. Hey. Alexandra Shipp. The lovely Regina Hall. Please give it up. All right. Jesse T. Usher. Samuel L. Jackson. And the iconic Richard Roundtree, the cast of Shaft.
Oh, angry dude.
Okay, and make sure you check out the movie. I want to thank you guys. And before we go, man, Mr. Jackson, man, I would love you to say, I'm Samuel L. Jackson, and I'm a citizen of Sway in the morning, motherfucker.
Yes, I second that.
Hey, this is Samuel L. Jackson, and I'm a citizen of Sway in the morning, motherfuckers.
Thank you for tuning in.
Woo!
And that was great, man.